Welcome back to Reigniting You, the show that focuses on all aspects of making mid to late career transitions. A big thank you to our sponsor, Charlie McGee of FranNet, who's here for a brief visit today. Hi, Charlie. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Lisa, good to see you.
Good to see you, sort of, or hear you, I should say. But wonderful to have you here. And so we're going to talk money a bit today. And for many who are considering business ownership as a career path, thinking about the funding piece can be a bit daunting. So, Charlie, how can people ensure they're financially ready to make that leap?
It's such an important question. The number one reason for small business failure is being inadequately capitalized at the beginning. In other words, running out of cash. So I think you're right. It is daunting. It's a little scary, but you can educate yourself to help better understand, what you need. And I think the first step is understanding your own personal finances. For instance, do you know how much you need each month to live the way you want to live? Do you have a budget? I'm surprised how many people that have been W-2 employees all their lives that really don't have a budget. And when you're going to become an entrepreneur, it's critical. You also want to understand what other household income streams there are that might help cover that personal overhead costs. You want to look at your credit history and your credit score. Are you at a 680 or higher? Do you know what your liquidity and your net worth numbers are? Just like when you are going to go buy a house and you get pre-qualified, so you know what you're going to be looking for, the same is true before getting into business. And then I think it's also critical to have 6 to 12 months of living expenses saved, or that can be reliably funded by someone else in the household. Businesses don't make money from day one, and if it does, call me, I'll invest in it. The second piece is understanding the business's finances. What is it going to require as an initial investment? An FDD item 7 can help with that when it comes to a franchise. Knowing the cash flow. What are one-time expenses versus ongoing expenses? And then what are the revenue forecasts as you're getting started? The earning projections, again, in an FDD, the item 19 can be super helpful. And then the last question is just from a matching, finding the right fit, what is an appropriate budget based on those things, an investment budget for the businesses. Lisa, there's micro businesses that you can start for less than $5,000. Franchise investments usually take about 50,000 or more, and I can help people kind of get there. I'm reminded of a great quote from Warren Buffett. It's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. So keep that in mind.
That's a good one. And what would you say are some funding options for folks that you recommend for them to get started with franchise ownership?
Well, SBA loans, the 7A loan, has been around for a long time and is often used for funding franchises and other small businesses. There's some debt relief programs right now in place that make that easier to get and less expensive in terms of the fees. But generally, you're going to need about 25 to 30% of the in a cash investment. If it's a $100,000 loan, you're probably going to need to make about a $30,000 investment in the business to qualify for that SBA loan. Home equity lines of credit are a popular strategy these days. Many people, particularly in the Puget Sound area, that have been in their home for a period of time have some good equity, and that can that can be a very effective tool. Also, portfolio loans, friends and family, and then of course the ROBS program, the ROBS, rollover for a business startup, which is not a loan. It's taking a qualified tax deferred savings account, non-Roth savings account, and investing in your own business. It's a penalty-free, not a tax event. And many people will cover that 30% that they need for the SBA loan that they don't have extra in cash. because they want to have that emergency fund, they'll use the Rob's rollover to do that. So that's a frequent pairing. There's also some franchisors, Lisa, that offer financing.
Mm.
Not many, but there are some. And for veterans and minorities, and there's all sorts of other incentives to help it make to be more affordable for people. Um, like so many things, getting good expert advice in funding is key. There's some wonderful groups that we work with. One of them is based in Washington, Guidant Financial. They do a terrific job helping people understand their own situation and what might be the best fit. So yeah, lots of good options.
Great. Yeah, sounds like it. And thanks so much for sharing about the financial side of business ownership, Charlie, a topic that I'm sure a lot of folks really wonder about. And remind us how people can find you.
You bet. Well, the easiest way is to give me a call, 360-489-2153. In the area of financing, there's a lot to learn, and the FranNet website, frannet.com, has some terrific blogs and information for education. And I just want to say I appreciate the time today, and it's been really fun being on the show.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Charlie. We really appreciate it and appreciate your support of the show these last few months. And it's been great spending time with you, and you always have great advice. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa.
Take care. And it's time now for